Hello and welcome to episode 153 of First Geek 411. I'm your host, Cameron Franklin. 100% just forgot my last name for a second. And with me, as always, is my best man, Chris Nicolay. Chris, how are you doing today?
But you remembered mine.
Yours is on our chat, so I can read it.
Is it?
Mine is not there, so I confuse myself.
What's
Mistakes
my
were made.
middle name, though?
I used to know this.
I know.
Oh,
Everyone
man.
forgets. Everyone forgets.
It's definitely Roger.
Yep. Christopher Roger Nicolay. Yep. Totally.
That is the Winnie the Pooh thing, right? Christopher Robin. That's what I was thinking. That's what I was trying to get to. And I just went to the wrong name.
Way wrong. Well, almost. You got the first two letters right.
Right. I mean, it's a Monday. And with us from the great white north, Shanine Thompson. How are you doing?
Pretty good.
How was your week been?
A blur.
A blur.
Mine too.
Well, we'll talk about what we've been up to in 1 second. But this week, we are chatting about New Year's in 2021, speed running, and then we're going to end on our top 3 releases of this coming year. And as always, listeners, you can find us on our social media, which is OneGeek411, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. You can join our Discord server if you want to chat with us between shows. You can shoot us an email at 1stgeek411@gmail.com. And then you can check out our show notes on our website, onegeek411.com. And you can watch live on our Twitch each Monday night at 6:45 Mountain Time and be part of the chat as well as the post-show chat. And then you can find the videos over on our YouTube. Then, if you're a podcast listener, you can listen wherever it is that you find your podcasts, like wherever you're listening right now. Seems like a great place to find the podcasts and share them with a friend. We also, someone forgot to update the show notes. That someone was me. Have a Redbubble store. And so if you would like to go buy some First Geek 411 merch, you can do that. There's a link in the Twitch bot, thanks to Nightbot. So please don't randomly ban people, Nightbot. But yeah, that's where people can find us. So let's chat about what we've been up to. Shanine, why don't you start us off?
Okay, I had to think surprisingly hard about this question because this week has been a blur. But I got a Doctor Who puzzle for Christmas and I finished it already.
Took her like 3 hours.
It wasn't too hard. It had pictures of all the doctors in like their own little circles all the way around and then a big TARDIS in the middle. So the TARDIS took the longest because everything was just blue.
Do you Mod Podge your puzzles?
No. Most of them I just take apart to redo later. There was one that was the TARDIS exploding, that like Van Gogh-ish painting of the TARDIS exploding. But not only that, it was shaped super weird. Like they weren't regular puzzle pieces. Like they were all random, horrible shapes. So that one took like 6 months to do instead of like 6 hours. So yeah, we glued that one for sure. I'm never doing that again.
Never again.
That's
just what I say to puzzles.
Fair. They're not for everyone.
Yeah.
I go in spurts. It was a very different New Year's Eve this year. We did some Jackbox games online with my family. So that was fun. Good old trivia murder party.
Very nice.
And
always a good choice.
Yes. I love it.
Did you
and
win?
I won once.
Nice.
So
nice.
Even better. And I finished watching Full Metal Alchemist.
Woo!
Yeah!
Yay!
I started
I
rewatching
have thoughts. I'm excited to watch Brotherhood now.
What are your overall thoughts on Full Metal Alchemist?
Overall, I enjoyed it. The ending was a bit like, oh, to me.
Mm-hmm.
But so I'm excited to watch Brotherhood now. But overall, I liked it.
It's one of those I want to definitely want to go back and rewatch. Like, I feel like it's one that I would that would hit me differently now than it did like high school, middle school Cameron. And
For
so,
sure.
But yeah, I'm super interested. I definitely really enjoyed it, and I 100% get where you're coming from with the ending. Like, it definitely feels like the ending is like, surprise, things have changed, or like things escalated quickly, that kind of thing.
Well, it's like this is all you're getting, so they're like,
Yeah.
Like when they didn't renew it is kind of very rushed ending, which is probably why I like the ending of Brotherhood better in general, because it didn't feel as rushed. Because it was planned.
Turns out when you have a plan, you have a better ending.
This makes sense.
Chris, what all have you been up to?
So, I did stream some Final Fantasy 14, and I have planned to do more. I have been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14, though. It's like I just want to like be max level, at least in one of my classes. So I did that. I watched Sabrina and Cobra Kai on Netflix.
Nice.
I have mixed feelings about both of them. I'm a little disappointed in Sabrina, not gonna lie, but we can save that for another time.
Yeah, I need to finish it. We just
everyone's
finished episode 2.
Caught up. Cobra Kai just gets weird. It's like, man, everyone in the show's dumb. Why are they so dumb? I did watch Wonder Woman 1984. Also, meh.
Mm-hmm.
It had redeeming qualities, but you know, it was just meh.
In
I feel
chat,
like
Chunk
that's
says
the
you're
best
weird and dumb.
review
I know. I am
I've
weird
heard
though.
so far.
Yeah.
That's
we
the
talked
best
about this
review you've heard
last
so
week
far.
during community game night, which people can find on our YouTube. But Shanine, you saw Wonder Woman, right?
The first one?
No, 1984.
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought you had. Have you seen Soul?
Not yet.
I'm just completely making things up.
Just making everything up.
I 100% that we had talked about that in community
I
game night.
think you had talked about it in one of the Discords.
That definitely has happened.
Yeah.
I have talked about it in many a Discord, and I have thoughts.
Yeah. We'll talk about it once everyone has seen. We'll probably save an episode for just like a review of like all the things we've watched together or seen together. It'll just be like a spoiler cast episode of multiple things. Because like I enjoyed things. It's just, you know, Marvel set such a high bar for so many things. And I'm just waiting for the DC blockbuster to just come out and be like, we're here too. And I was expecting that to be Wonder Woman with their second Wonder Woman movie, but you know, I've also I also watched granted this wasn't all just this last week. I have to throw that out there because this looks like a lot of content. I also started watching Dragon Ball Super, which is 100 and something episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just because I really needed some tournament arcs in my life. And that's what Dragon Ball's about.
I don't think I've watched any Dragon Ball since we binged Dragon Ball Super in college.
Dragon Ball GT.
Oh, that was GT.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Which is not canon. Super is canon.
Yeah.
But
I just had it mixed up. But yeah, I think Dragon Ball GT, that was the last time I watched Dragon Ball.
Understandable.
I was just done.
Dragon Ball Super's not bad. It's just more Dragon Ball, which if you like Dragon Ball, you should watch Super. It's actually really it's a lot of fun. But it is just fun. It's not good. It's just fun. If you like tournament arcs, this is where this Dragon Ball has the best tournament arcs. And, you know, in general, pacing's a lot better than Dragon Ball Z. So you don't get, you know, 3 weeks of episodes for powering up a move, a single move. And yeah, so pacing's a lot better. I just, you know, I want a Dragon Ball that emphasizes like, look how awesome all the other characters are too.
Krillin can do more than just die.
He does do more
That
than just die in
doesn't
this.
seem right.
Doesn't seem
Doesn't seem right. Krillin is kind of awesome in this, at least in the final arc. I recommend it. I like him. I wish they did more with him. I wish they did more with a lot of characters. But, you know, it is what it is. And I even watched the dub because that's how I remember.
Proud of you.
Right.
Just kidding, I don't care.
And just throwing this out there, Greg mentions Yu Yu Hakusho. I love Yu Yu Hakusho. I would love a Yu Yu Hakusho reboot of some sort at some point. And, you know, even if it's just like,
can I interest you in a Netflix live action movie?
is it going to be whitewashed?
I mean, scoreboard, Chris.
I mean,
I say that I haven't watched
just
any
have
of
to
are the other ones whitewashed? One of them was a big deal, right, for casting?
Death Note
Death Note was, okay.
was based in Portland. Or something weird like that. Yeah. Death Note got weird. Death Note's casting was weird. Live action Rurouni Kenshin actually wasn't half bad. Live action Full Metal Alchemist was bizarre. But these are Japanese live action. So like it fits better. Like I don't know. The weird things they do in Japan when they do their live action adaptations, just it gives it a quirkiness that you don't take it seriously as a live action adaptation. It's more like it feels fan made almost. It feels like just cosplayers reenacting the show, which I'm very pro, like for whatever reason. But I don't know. But I'd be very pro a new or a continuation of Yu Yu Hakusho. Such a good show.
Let's see. For me, like I thought, apparently we had discussed last week, I've watched Wonder Woman 1984 as well as Soul. And my general take on Wonder Woman is I kind of put it with Iron Man 3 and Thor Dark World, where like the ideas aren't bad, except for a certain like implication of body swaps, but like, you know, but the overall plot isn't bad. It's just how you get there that's really bad.
Yeah, I completely agree. Give me the footage that's even just in the movie. I can recut that into a better movie.
Yeah,
I think. Just like fan cuts of like
preferably like
The
45
Hobbit.
minutes less movie.
Yes, that's one big thing. It's so long.
So yeah, I saw that. Also watched Soul. I don't think it's the peak Pixar, but it's a good movie. I know a lot of people have really loved it. And then, as Shanine mentioned, it's a weird New Year's Eve, and so instead of like going and being with people, we did a Lord of the Rings extended edition marathon, so that we could end at midnight with Frodo saying, "It's over, it's done." And so we have both Deanna and I both have videos on our YouTube or on our YouTube on our social media of us hitting that. And so that was really exciting. It was my first time watching all of the extended editions since high school, like doing a marathon.
What? I did that last week, or I do that like once a week.
You just have them going in the background.
Yeah, it's just all the time now. I think I did it last year, maybe this summer. I think I may have done it this summer. It's a long time to be sitting down though.
Yeah, and we kind of like had it on while we were just doing some other stuff. So like I was playing some Smash Bros. And like I think Deanna was scrolling TikTok at some point, and like just because we started at 2 and went until midnight, and so like and we should have started earlier. We had to skip part of the end of Two Towers so that we could start Return of the King in time. So we actually should have started at like 1:15 or something like that. But yeah, so that was cool. I mean, Lord of the Rings, highly recommend. Then, as mentioned at the end of the community game night, I know that I've mentioned this. Chris and I are doing a Commander League with some people from the Infinity Bros as well as City on a Hill. And so
Yeah.
I have brewed and built my deck for that. Just have a couple cards waiting to come in. And then played some Commander with Deanna, testing out the new deck. And so excited to play that on stream soon.
I'm excited for some. When are we starting that?
TBD.
Okay, still TBD. Good, guys. I've thought about my deck. I just haven't done anything yet.
Yeah. It's supposed to be towards the end of this month, but we don't have necessarily a specific date yet.
I'll be ready.
And then on a video game front, streamed some Spider-Man, Miles Morales. I learned very quickly into it that the dodge button is the opposite in Spider-Man as it is in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is the other game I've been playing. When I think I died in my first combat because I tried to punch instead of dodging. And so
it's a hard life.
Yep. It's a hard life being Miles. And but yeah, so those are the big games I've been playing. About 70 hours into Assassin's Creed.
That can be very anger inducing though.
Mm-hmm.
When the buttons are bad, she's like, "What are you doing?" Like yelling at the video game a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, "Oh, never mind.
Oh, my bad.
Don't go back and forth." It's also why I don't mind playing through to some tutorials. Just to reacclimate into a game.
Yeah. With that, I guess those are the things that we have been up to. So let's get into our discussion topics for the week. Shanine, why don't you start us off?
All right. Yeah, I'll introduce our obligatory New Year's resolutions conversation. Have you guys set resolutions, or what are just your hopes for 2021, things you want to do?
Not 2020. I mean, we've talked about a little bit with Shanine being on the podcast now. I want to read more. So I have set a goal of, actually I've reduced it. It's going to be, we're going for 20 books for 2021. Maybe.
And 12 of those will be the podcast, book clubs.
Exactly.
Got them.
So I only have to read 8 additional books. But now I have to pick what books. And there's so many books. It's probably why it's probably like one of those things where I stopped doing because I was just more overwhelmed by the options. And it's just easy to pour my time into watching stuff. Yeah. Read more and road trip more. Put some miles on this car.
For me, one of them kind of goes right along with what Chris said. I want to read more of the book club books as opposed to doing the audiobooks for them. And so I think last time I mentioned that, I said I haven't read any, which is incorrect because I did read The Advent, A Thread in the Night. But for all the other ones, I did audiobooks. And so my goal is to do at least half the books like physical book and not do audiobooks for as many of them.
Audiobooks are just so convenient.
They really are. And especially when you're like me and you live a 2 times speed life.
I don't know how you can absorb anything from an audiobook.
Yeah.
At 2 times speed.
To be honest, it's not easy.
You're like, wait, what was that?
And so it all just kind of happens. And so
it's in here somewhere.
So that's one of them. From a podcast perspective, I definitely want to go and do some additional learning, reading, watching on just being a better conversationalist, how to like develop better conversations and pull better conversations out with people. That's one of the things that I've always really enjoyed about the podcast is that side of it. And so that's something I really wanted to grow on. And then I had something else. I was talking about this earlier today with some people, and now I don't remember what my other one was.
Oh, I'm
So
assuming I remember. I want to hopefully. I want to hike more.
which can go along with your road trip more.
Right. Because I'm used to like hiking around Helena, but I actually want to go travel hike. Kind of. Don't want to like camp though. Not a big camper. Like I can backpack a week out of the year. That's enough.
If the borders ever open up again, I highly recommend Banff and Jasper.
Right? We'll make plans. If it opens back up, I still need to get my passport again. But plans.
Yes,
Meet Shanine in
hike
person.
with
There's
you.
my New Year's goal.
Yeah, hike to meet Shanine.
Oh no, that's a road trip option.
Welcome to week 3 of Chris not being here, as he is did hike.
When I first got my car, I picked up some people doing the CDC and brought them to their trailhead here in Helena. Continental Divide Trail, which is like
I couldn't figure out the acronym. I knew it was Continental Divide, and then I couldn't get what like the third letter was.
I probably said that completely wrong anyway. I don't know.
Just
but
be
yeah.
wrong with confidence.
But yeah, they were right. I was just heading up to take some pictures up over the pass, and I saw some hitchhikers, and was like, normally I wouldn't, but I was like, these guys are obviously hikers. I'll take them to the pass.
Nice.
Shanine, what are your resolutions, hopes, dreams?
Yeah. This year I just want to focus, I think, on being more proactive about my mental health. 2020 was 2020 and I feel like it brought a lot of things to the surface that I could just be better about working on and taking care of myself a little bit, I guess. So,
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's like pretty much everyone. It's like 2020, especially like after isolation, she's like, oh, I really don't, I'm not good at this mental health aspect of my life.
yeah.
You just suppress it with busyness normally, and then we just had way too much time to ourselves.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, that. And also I'm for real working on learning languages again this year. Like I took some in high school and university, and
So what are you
I'd
starting
like
with?
to.
Klingon, Elvish?
Right? No, I'm starting with German because I feel that's one of the two that I have the most solid base for. So kind of starting with something that I already know a little bit of just to kind of get back into the groove of learning a foreign language. So
I've started relearning some Japanese to prepare for 2022.
Japanese is on my list of things to learn.
It's mostly
as
just
well.
learning to pronounce Japanese foods so I can order, because that's all I'll be doing there.
It's important.
I don't need conversation, I just need food.
I would like to learn another language. Like, I feel like, I mean, Chris and I took Greek in college, which was
Biblical
very
Greek, which isn't
yeah.
even usable. In
Yeah. So it's like when I say like we took Greek, like we were youth ministers that took our required credits of Greek. Um, and as Chris said, it was biblical Greek. So it's not even modern. So like we didn't even have to worry about speaking it. Like, and like I found, so I'm going to say this kind of with that like caveat. I found learning languages in college way more interesting than I did in high school. And kind of with that, it's something that like, maybe I just didn't have teachers that were like super like taught like the way I learned. And so I was like, maybe
language is one of those things that it like you have to find the learning method that works for you. For sure. Granted, then again, I took my foreign language just because she was also the teacher was an English teacher, and she cooked a lot for her French class. So, so I was like, yes, I am taking French as my foreign language just so I can have Mrs. Bartles and eat all the time.
you do what you got to do.
I love that all your foreign languages come back to food.
I mean, those are the two biggest things about a culture: language and food. And I just like food. Yes.
If you are hanging out with us in chat and you want to let us know what your resolutions / hopes and dreams are for 2021, let us know. We'll talk about that some in our post-show chat. Chris, what do you got for us today?
First one I'm stealing is, since Emma couldn't be here, I'm proposing this one so that Cameron and Janine can talk about it, because I ain't got a clue. But it was announced that Jodie Whittaker is leaving her role as the 13th Doctor at the end of her third season, which is this year, 2021. At least it didn't happen in 2020, just saying. Mm-hmm. So, who do you guys want to be the next Doctor?
I don't necessarily have anything in specific.
Exactly. No. I'd like to see a person of color. I might get more interested.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was gonna say too. Like, whether it's now, granted, I haven't gotten to Jodie Whittaker seasons yet. We're still in season 2 of Capaldi, and so, but whether it's another like female doctor or a person of color, like I would definitely like to see them like not immediately go back to another white man.
Right.
Yeah. In chat, Chunk the Hut says Idris Elba. And
I'd watch anything with Idris Elba.
Yeah, to be fair.
Yeah.
Just throw it out there.
He was one of the, like, I don't know, fan picks or whatever when they were still deciding on Jodie Whittaker. And I feel like he was one of the front runners for me. Like, yeah, I'd watch that.
I'd be very pro that. Isn't he also, like, people want him to be Bond?
Yeah.
Isn't he going to be in the new James Bond? Not the one coming out next year or this year, but eventually? Or was that another fan casting that I'm just misremembering?
I don't know. It's possibly another fan casting. Maybe. I don't see anything obvious in a quick Google search here. But yeah, I'd be very pro him being Bond though, too. But there's like, let's just throw. Best thing about like doing something like that is it just brings all like the toxic fans to the surface. So you're like, don't be friends with them.
Yep. So I'm curious to what happened with Jodie Whittaker, like whether or not it is because everything seems to be kind of hush hush. The studio hasn't said anything from what I've seen. So I know there's a comment in Emma had dropped a link to mirror.co.uk, and there's it talks The 38-year-old has told bosses she intends to stick with the traditional rule of leaving after 3 stints in the TARDIS, like the majority of her predecessors. And so, whether or not it is just a 3 was enough, or what it was, I'm very curious to what the reason was, but
She punched the producer. Oh wait, that was Top Gear. Never mind.
This article talks about how her co-stars Bradley Walsh and Tossin Cole are leaving. I don't think they're even finishing out this final season. I could be wrong.
Oh wow.
But I think they're leaving like soon. And my husband was researching some things and saw somewhere that Whittaker's agent was kind of urging her to leave as well, with just plummeting reviews and things like that. Yeah, I have thoughts about these last 2 seasons. A lot of thoughts.
All the thoughts.
High level, what are your thoughts?
Oh man. This article says showrunner Chris Chibnall is remaining, so I do not see Jodie Whittaker leaving. Improving things.
Yeah, got you. I mean, his name's Chris. He can't be that bad.
There has to be one bad Chris. It's the rule of like.
Or maybe 5. Chris's just shouldn't be showrunners.
They're
just better superheroes. Chris's are just better superheroes.
The decisions he has made are. I'm questioning them. That's all.
I'd say understandable, but I don't know.
Given chat, Deanna says never trust a Chris.
Always trust a Chris.
And so, yeah, I'm super interested. Like, as I mentioned earlier, we're not to Jodie Whittaker seasons yet, but it's definitely something I am looking forward to us getting to. And from what you've said just now, Shanine, and things that I've heard in the past, like I'm excited to get there, but I'm also a little scared to get there. And so, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I just pretend things end when Clara left. It's just don't need to go further.
Chris, did you say you had another one?
Somewhere. Maybe. Oh, there's a tech thing. 2 years, we can go back to me. Since when do we just give him all at once? I probably always.
Yep. I think you said probably always. Like you haven't been on this show for 4 years. Like
I mean, we've only been doing this 4-person thing,
for
this
4 months.
format. Granted, we're only 3 this week, but we've only been doing this 4-person format for.
So for me, I've been watching a lot of speedrunning content lately. Not necessarily people doing actual speed runs, but more of people talking about doing speed runs. And like talking about like some of like the history and like when people like the discovery of new things. I've been watching a lot of stuff on like times people have been have gotten caught cheating at speed running, those types of things, and kind of like some of the drama in it. And I was thinking, kind of speedrunning in general very much seems like something that's like right up my alley because, as I mentioned earlier, I live the 2x speed life. And so when you watch a speed run on 2x speed, you're just getting through the game in like no time at all. And so And with Awesome Games Done Quick going on, shout out to them. I kind of had a two-part speedrunning related question for us today. And so, first off, have either of you ever watched speedrunning? And if so, are there any like interesting games that you've watched that you've really enjoyed?
I have watched speedrunning. It's not my favorite. It's interesting. One there was I don't remember the name of the game. I sometimes watching speedrunners do RPGs. Super interesting. So like speedruns of like Chrono Trigger and like some of the Final Fantasies. Because there's some random things in that game that you have to do to be able to speedrun. Granted, a speedrun through those games is still hours. But like, man, the things they have memorized and down is impressive when it comes to those. It's like you have to take so many steps to unlock this randomly and get this character at this point and do something. I'm like, wait, what? And you're counting the sprite steps?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's super interesting. One of the things I was watching, they were talking about Donkey Kong 64, where something new was just discovered in the game that people didn't know existed till now.
What?
And it like has like air quotes invalidated a lot of records because because they basically found an extra, it's like a DK coin. It gives coins to all the characters in the game. And so it means that all coin speed runs are no longer accurate because they were missing this one that people didn't know existed. And so
got him.
How
did a developer not say anything?
Yeah, stuff like that. Like it's super interesting. But
Pokemon speedruns can be interesting. Not as interesting as Twitch does.
Yeah, Twitch plays Pokemon.
Oh man, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, it was. Shane, have you ever watched speedrunning stuff?
Not a ton. I think I watched some of Ocarina of Time speedrun, which I watched while I was playing it and was just kind of depressing.
Right?
Did start rolling everywhere after that though.
Except for the problem with that is rolling doesn't speed everything up in every other game.
You just gotta always roll to be safe.
But because of that game, it's given you this mentality. So you just roll if it's an option in every other game after learning to roll in Zelda.
I do gotta say, like playing Assassin's Creed, what was I gonna say? It's so easy to navigate the world if you don't have to obey like normal walking conventions. Like if you just like climb up buildings, you get places so much quicker.
Yeah, the fact that he can climb a building faster and he can walk to the other end of the building.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
In chat, Chunk the Hut says, I really enjoyed the Portal speed running that we watched. And kind of going off that, I really like puzzle game speedruns. Those are some of my favorites. And then I will also say I enjoy speedruns where they're not using like out of bounds stuff. So you're not necessarily like trying to clip through the world itself. I watched a Metroid Prime.
You're not using the exploits.
Like you can be using exploits or using like glitches. Like Super Mario 64 is a classic one where your character can move so fast using a certain trick that you'll clip through walls because Mario moves faster than the game refreshes. And so he just appears on the other side of the door. It's like stuff like that is fine, but like clipping out of bounds is one of the things I don't really enjoy because a lot of times it just doesn't look interesting. And then I'll say I really like speedruns of games with unskippable cutscenes because you know that speedrunners had to watch that cutscene like 500 times.
More probably.
And so, yeah, they're just over here just like they have all the lines memorized. They're making fun of all the characters.
Yeah, speedrun practices is like a full-time job. You're doing the same game 4 to 5 hours, possibly upwards of 6 to 8 every day. And if your average speedrun time is X long and you have the unskippable cutscenes, they've seen that 500 times a week.
Yep. Yeah. And then I guess kind of on that, I think a lot of like, I think Ocarina of Time is a classic one. Those like action RPG type things where you, or even like Demon Souls, Dark Souls, that kind of thing, where you can like use glitches, but there is still that like degree of skill. And so you get the like the minimum viable build to beat this boss and that kind of thing. And kind of do that balance of like, we could grind one more level and be a little bit more assured, or do we risk it and possibly lose the run? I just like that like risk assessment that comes with speed runs. So big shout out to Awesome Games Done Quick. And this ties into the two-parter. One of my favorite parts of speedrunning is Awesome Games Done Quick. For people that don't know, they have somebody who's speedrunning the game. And then they have people on the couch kind of commentating, doing that. They're typically other speedrunners of that game. And then they're doing all of this while they are raising money for charity. And so that kind of got me thinking for the two-parter of what are some of your favorite like creative charity ideas that you've seen? Or is there anything that comes to mind for like really cool ways people have raised money for something? I feel like this is like a wonky out of our normal wheelhouse question. But
I mean, I just want to return to the 80s and 90s with like the dance-a-thons and things like that, where whoever can dance along is ultimately also wins a prize, but like people are donating to the cause as they do it. I mean, we get some things like that where they have like marathon runs or like X amount of time of straight streaming or things like that. So we see that, but I don't know. I feel like the old timey blankathons would be very interesting to do now.
I guess I should mention this Awesome Games Done Quick is benefiting the Prevent Cancer Foundation. So just as a shout out for that, they've and they do a lot of children's charities. Varoth in chat says Child's Play. I think that's one that they do quite a bit, and they typically like do 2 or 3 of the big ones a year, big Games Done Quicks, and they like alternate charities. And so
the relevant podcasts, things to put Jesse through for their annual charity. His Nick series.
Trapped in a Cage.
Trapped in a Cage, and before that he listened to Nickelback for a week and only like always had Nickelback playing or something like that. And yeah, even if you don't watch him, just listening to them talk about him, that's so good. Trapped in a Cage though, where he watched like a weekend straight of Nick Cage movies. Also, speaking of Nick Cage, just throwing this out there, that Community episode with Abed trying to determine if Nick Cage is good or bad. Wonderful episode.
Sheen, any thoughts?
Our local Young Life area does an annual Canoe the River fundraiser.
Didn't you do that this year?
I did do that this year. I think it's fun and kind of out of the box, not your typical like run-a-thon or anything like that. Canoeing's just different.
Young Life has a lot of creative fundraising ideas, though. You get money for camp and things. Some of the things they do, I'm just like, oh man, that is super creative. But some are like very community oriented, so you need to have good participation for them to make sense too. But Young Life's really good about that. Cameron's just trying to get us to get ideas so that when we have to start actually putting money where our mouth is and do our own charity event, he's got some ideas in the bank.
Yeah, we're just going to do all of these. You'll watch me speed run some super long game.
We'll be streaming Shanine canoeing.
So I think for mine, and Chunk the Hut mentioned it in chat, Extra Life. And that kind of even gets into what Chris said about the a-thon fundraisers. But I really like that idea of it's like you can do Extra Life on a team, you can do it individually, whatever it is, and just that raising money and kind of all of those people getting on together, doing some video games.
I'll
and
just
playing. Just eat an
Mm-hmm.
eat-a-thon.
Eat-a-thon.
Chris versus food.
Yep. Although I could never be a professional eater.
Mm-hmm.
They're just crazy. But doesn't mean I can't. I'll just eat. I just won't eat competitively.
Yeah, it's a slow eat because it's a marathon.
Yes, exactly. Might even just be small dishes, and it's just seeing how many different dishes I can try in a period of time.
Mm-hmm. In chat, Voroth said another thing that I think is really cool in speedrunning, which is when people can make donations and that changes the rules of the game. And so, I mean, especially for, you see that a lot with like RPGs, which is what
Red Nose Day.
mention. But what'd you say?
Red Nose Day with Colbert, where his character was determined by
donations. Yeah, and I like stuff like that where the audience can get involved in those types of decisions. Chris, did you think of your number 2?
Yes. I found the actual article. Maybe. There it is. So, because I'm a tech person, kind of.
What?
But there is news that the Europeans are sending some sort of contraption into space to start cleaning up some of the debris in the atmosphere or in the upper levels of orbit. What do you think they're sending?
Drones.
A little Wally robot that'll take everything into its stomach and make garbage cubes. Yes.
They are using a claw.
A claw?
A claw.
I'm glad that they've watched Toy Story 1.
Yeah.
And that was as far as they got on their planning for this.
The claw.
The claw has chosen what debris will go and what will stay.
Yes. So they have signed a contract with a company called ClearSpace SA, which is the first active debris removal mission, known as ClearSpace 1. So creative for space travel. Which is working to dispatch a claw into space by 2025 to rendezvous, capture, and bring down for reentry. Specifically, they're starting with a Vespa payload adapter, I guess, that was left in orbit after the second flight of the Vega in 2013. If anyone knows what these are, let me know, because I don't know. I'm not familiar with every space mission, unfortunately. But yeah, it'll be ultimately a small satellite, but hopefully this will indicate like a future. So it's really just trying to bring one thing back in through reentry. But there are, just to throw out some numbers there, for the 60 years of space activities, there have been more than 5,550 launches that have resulted in 42,000 tracked objects in orbit, of which 23,000 still remain. They have to track, because obviously any future missions, they have to know where they are before launching anything else and putting anything else into orbit. But dang, it's a lot of junk.
Yeah. It's crazy to think that like it is multiple people's full-time job to track that stuff, or like at least like that's like a portion of their duties is to track the debris.
Yeah. Really, I mean, I'm sure most of it's tracked by computers anymore for the most part. Like, it's just calculations.
Yeah.
So you input, it's like, okay, they track it for a little bit, and then once they have the calculations figured out, it'll, procedurally generate that path perpetually until it degrades enough.
It does seem like at some point you could just give everything a little boop. Just push it into the atmosphere, let it burn up.
There are some things that are up there that are large enough that it won't just burn up. So you'd have to actually calculate it and make sure it doesn't crash on someone.
Oh.
And we actually have a website now.
Yeah. Shout out to Shanine's husband.
Stuff in space. I also, one of my favorite things about the internet is in the last probably 6 years, I think, because they just needed to, the new editions where it's pretty much you can create your own for a URL, your own ender. So it's not just .com, .org. Now it's like .tv and .space.
This website is really cool. I mean, like, I know we're we're not showing it to the listeners, but this website's amazing.
Where's the Tesla?
Where's the Tesla? Like, if you hover over a piece of space debris, it shows you its orbit. Like, that's
Can you
super
find
cool.
Something Tesla. Who's tracking the Tesla? It's not. Who knows? It probably has its own name. Starlinks. I like the idea of Starlink, although there's so many of them and they're pretty bright in the sky. Just throwing that out there. But yeah, space.
Yes.
The new landfill.
The new landfill. And on that happy note, that brings us into our top 3 for this week. We want to know, what are your most exciting releases of 2021, be it a video game, TV show, movie, book. Remember, the first rule of top 3s are that there's no rules. And so if you can justify it, it counts. And so with that said, we got some listener feedback from some people over in our Discord. Hayden for Helix says Dune, which I'm super excited for that remake. I definitely forgot that was coming in 2021.
Yep. But nothing's going to beat the original.
I need to go back and rewatch the original. Like, I've seen it before because my dad really likes Dune, but I have not seen it in
a long time.
I'm going to say decades.
Since I was a wee one.
But Space Hawk 91 says WandaVision, the rest of the MCU, and Mass Effect Legendary Edition. And so, shout out, that's Caleb from the Mountain Nerds podcast that we did a space episode with, which we talked about Mass Effect. So, Chunk the Hut says Free Guy, Horizon 2, and Far Cry 6. Nova Crusade says Loki.
Ooh.
Infinity Bro Isaac says Spider-Man 3. To which I say, if any of the rumors are true, this movie is going to be bananas, and I'm excited for it. And then Taos says MCU as a catch-all, and then going to the theater again. I agree. And so if you are hanging out with us in the Twitch chat, you can post some of your top 3s, and we'll hit on some after we go through our list. And so, Shanine, why don't you start us off?
Okay. My first one was said, but I'm going to say it anyway because I'm so pumped for it. WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
So stoked.
Like a few more days. I'm so excited.
Soon.
It's like 10. It's the 15th, right?
The 15th.
Okay.
11 days.
Yeah, WandaVision is not on my list because I knew you would be going before me, and I was pretty confident it was going to be your first one. So
Yeah.
It's not on my list because I don't know.
Because of reasons.
Because all anime, remember? No, I'm just kidding. I already broke that rule.
The year of anime. Is there anything super specific for WandaVision that you're hyped for? I know we've touched on it a little bit before, but
I don't know. I love Scarlet Witch and Vision in general. Like they're amazing characters separately, but also have a super awesome relationship as well. I've actually read some of the comics about them, so I kind of know what's going on a little bit and like some of the characters and things that they're connected with.
mm-hmm.
I like that they are such a good couple that like, because it doesn't explain it at all in the MCU. It's just left for people who know to know. But they just threw them together and no one challenged it at all. That's how good they are together.
Yeah.
It's just like, sure, I buy it.
Yeah, no, I super started shipping it and then read the comics and was like, well, yeah, they're just perfect
It's obvious.
together.
It's just done. And then it's like
Sense.
in terms of the MCU though, it's not very typical of things to go that just like that way. And then they're just like, hey, people love this so much, we're gonna create its own series. Okay.
Yeah.
We're in.
I love them. They're great. I'm excited. And just, I don't know, alternate reality, weird, timey-wimey things going on. I'm excited. I'm excited to find out what's going on.
I'll say for me, like that very last point is what on top of their cool relationship and all that, but like the very weird timey-wimey, like what's real, what's not. I'm super interested in that. I've talked about it some, just a little bit ago with Spider-Man 3, but also Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. Like the fact that it could be anything really excites me.
It's like the primary, like that's the premise through the entire stage.
Yeah.
that we know so far. It's just like timey-wimey things. Doctor Strange and this crazy, I'm so excited for Doctor Strange's and then the possibility of the Spider-Verse and just like what's real.
Mm-hmm.
It's all gonna be real, I hope. All the speculation.
Chris, what's your number one?
These aren't in any way. I picked one from multiple categories, try to just have a different category for each number. But video game wise, I am super excited for Hogwarts Legacy.
Okay, I put Hogwarts Legacy on mine as my safe pick. That I was like, there's no way someone else is gonna say Hogwarts Legacy.
What video game was I gonna say, Cameron?
I have no clue.
Exactly.
I was not anticipating Hogwarts Legacy.
I have been excited. Like when that trailer came, for the most part, I was skeptical, but like as we know more and as everything, I am so stoked for this game. And I'm sorry to steal your pick. I was like,
no, you're fine.
I was expecting you to have Horizon, but I guess we don't have. Is Horizon going to be a 2021 game?
Chris, you'll just have to wait until we see what happens on other people's lists.
I don't know. I just wanted to pick one game, and as going through, and it's definitely the one I'm most excited for because it's not just a Hogwarts. It's not just a Harry Potter game. It's just Hogwarts. Screw Harry Potter. Screw the main characters from the books. Let me create someone in the world itself, and let me live that life. That's what we get, and I want it. Okay.
Yep. Kind of echoing all of that. I'm super excited for Hogwarts Legacy. I really enjoy Harry Potter, and obviously, J.K. Rowling has said some things that are offensive and that she should definitely not have said or believed or like.
That's right. She doesn't have much to do with the Hogwarts universe anymore at this point.
And I kind of feel like because of the things that she said, it's kind of like that weird place for being a Harry Potter fan of and like this conversation comes up with a lot of different things, but like the supporting the person or like supporting the franchise, but not wanting to support the creator. And so I feel like that's kind of like Hogwarts Legacy is kind of in that weird place of had this come out 4 years ago, this would have stuck, though. I mean, but if it had come out 4 years ago, there would have been so much hype behind this, and I'm so hopeful, but because like for a lot of the reasons you said, Chris, it's not Harry Potter, it's not Fantastic Beast, it's its own setting, its own time frame. They
It's
can
just
tell the story
Wizarding
they
World.
want. Yeah.
That's all. Like,
Um, and that's kind of what I've wanted from the franchise for a long time is the like, let's get out of these like very specific stories, or even like Fantastic Beasts. It's really just a prequel series. Like it's the same characters tying into the story that we know.
mm-hmm.
And they're just kind of expounding on that, which prequels are, I mean, sometimes great. But I'm super excited that we just can have an independent story where basically the only premise is like don't destroy Hogwarts. Like like that's basically the only thing that can't happen. And so um, so I'm really excited for what that's going to be. But I guess with that, my number one, since Emma's not here, I was also worried that she was going to take this one. My number one is Horizon Forbidden West. And so that is the game I'm most excited about. And as a franchise, I think most of us have talked about our love of Horizon and Aloy. And I was talking on stream while I was playing Spider-Man that like I go back and forth on whether or not I like Horizon Zero Dawn or Spider-Man more. And I definitely love Aloy as that like that new character, that new IP, and kind of what she was able to like represent and bring to the like video game IP staples.
Yeah. I would definitely lean more toward Aloy because she's more unique.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, she doesn't have to fill a specific outline of what I have for that character because it's not like it's coming from a comic or from other iterations of the character that I have to compare it to and hope it's good. Aloy was just a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, the game looked great, everything else, but then you have this amazing character that you just want to keep playing as and seeing how or choosing how she reacts to learning more about this crazy world that turns out and like learning the history too. It's just like, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're in Colorado. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Shanine, what's your number two?
My number two is In the Heights, coming out June 18th. I hadn't even heard of this until I went to the movies to see Emma right before everything shut down and saw a trailer and was like, what?
What is it?
It's a Lin-Manuel Miranda musical.
Oh.
And what's the title? In the Heights?
In the Heights.
Heights.
Yes. I don't know a ton about it, but I do know it's Lin-Manuel Miranda. It's a musical telling minority stories, and I think it's going to be great.
Okay. I think I did see a trailer for this too. This does look really good.
I have to check it out. I'm not a big musical person. Sometimes. I don't know. Just gotta be done right. Granted, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I feel like Lin-Manuel Miranda does it right.
Yeah. I'm fascinated by him. He's so quick on his feet, too. He can pretty much just, like, improv an entire musical, and it'd be good.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I agree.
Maybe I just have a preference for animated musicals. I don't know.
I did not know that In the Heights is like an established musical. Like, I mean, I'd never heard of it till I saw the trailer, and then I completely forgot about it till you mentioned it. But like, it's like an established musical that's been going since 2005.
Oh.
Huh. Nice. Chris, what do you got for your number two?
My number two goes to, for my movie pick, is going to Raya and the Last Dragon. because I just want to keep hyping this movie. I am excited to see where they take this. I'm excited to find out exactly where it's based. I'm excited for so many things out of this, because I've got my bets, and I'm hoping I'm right. But yeah, just the Southeast representation finally in anything. Yeah.
Yeah, that one was on my list as well.
What? Well, you knew that one wasn't going to be a safe pick.
Well, I wasn't sure if you were going to go for that or go for Shang-Chi.
Is Shang-Chi this year?
It's supposed to be.
It is. That was on my short list.
There's way too. They're already doing too much
July
this year.
9th.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think I could put Shang-Chi on my list. I'm excited for it because I have no clue, but that's also a problem. I don't know enough about Shang-Chi, and I don't know what they're gonna do with it. It is such an obscure pick to include, and I'm happy they did, but don't know what they're gonna do with it.
It has the actor from Kim's Convenience in it, so I'm excited.
There are some of those characters that you're just like, I have to watch this just because it has this character in it.
Mm-hmm.
And is it the dad?
No, it's the son.
The son's in it. Okay. I was like, Is he making just like a cameo?
No, the main character.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna do better in this, hopefully. This character doesn't have a lot of depth in.
He has abs.
Yep.
In Kim's Convenience.
I'll say for me, my number 2, continuing this Marvel conversation, is Miss Marvel. And so I'm really excited to see how they take that character. I'm excited that we're going to get to see a person who basically is that great stand-in for the audience, that is a fan of the Avengers, is a fan of superheroes, and kind of gets to live that out and live out that fantasy of becoming a hero. I'm really excited for that. I'm curious on if / please don't tie this in with the Inhumans. Like, I'm definitely curious in that how they're going to explain her getting her powers.
Just
like
abandon Inhumans. That was such a weird attempt.
It was an attempt, and I think that is the most generous thing that we can say.
There was just way too many they just like didn't think about the writing as much as they should have.
And so like it's crazy, and I think I've said this on the show before. It's crazy that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. handled Inhumans better than the Inhumans show.
Right?
Like that just blows my mind. So with all that said, I am like I said, I'm super curious to if they're gonna tie that in. I would love to see Daisy come in as an Inhuman, and kind of have a little bit of a role, finally give a nod to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. For being part of the bigger canon. And then, like I said, just kind of in general, getting to see Miss Marvel fangirl, and what all that's going to be. So, yeah. Shanine, what's your number 3?
Okay, my last one is Thy Geekdom Come 2, which is a sequel devotional to Thy Geekdom Come, which I have read and thoroughly enjoyed. And the reason that I'm so excited for the sequel to come out is that I will be published in it.
What? I did not know that.
Is this your first publication?
Yes.
Ooh,
that's fantastic.
I will have 2 devotionals appearing in this book, and I'm super excited.
Congratulations. That is great. Was that And I feel like there's no way that we got the exclusive on that, but I feel like I hadn't seen anything about that elsewhere.
No, I have not really posted about it yet.
Okay.
I didn't know if we were like allowed to announce anything, but they revealed the cover a couple of days ago. And in the blog post where they revealed the cover, they also listed all of the contributing authors. I was like, I feel like I can share this now.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Cameron knows what that's like. Not getting published, but like.
I was say I definitely don't know what getting.
Can I talk about this yet?
Yes. Yes. Although mine typically aren't. I would say mine typically aren't as exciting. Mine are typically pretty exciting, but mine typically have more drastic legal consequences if I share them early. So, yeah, that's awesome, and we'll have to make sure to give you some shout outs as we get closer to that coming out.
March 42nd.
March 42nd?
Yes, that is the official release date.
So April? I'm so confused.
It's because the Geek 42 devotionals for life, the universe, and everything, it's coming out on March 42nd. So yeah, you just have to do the math.
Okay, so it is April then.
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't sure what they were where they're going with that was my thing. I was like, is that what they're going for? Is just X amount of days into April? Is that... Okay.
Yeah.
Just had to confirm.
Well, Chris, what's your number 3? And good luck topping that. I say knowing there's no way mine's going to be as cool as that.
Yeah,
So.
it's like, I'm not trying to top that. I'm not getting published in anything, and I don't plan on it. I've been debating this and which one is going to be on my top list. But we're just gonna give it to them just because we've been away from them a little longer. So My Hero Academia season 5. We're just giving it to them for my most hyped anime. I just we need to go beyond plus ultra, and I've never cared about a character as much as Deku in a long time, and I we know where he ends up. I just can't wait till he gets there.
Yeah, and I do have to say, for a show that that literally the intro gives away the ending of the show, they have done such a great job, like with the twists and turns for Deku.
Yeah, we know he doesn't die, so I mean that's a plus. But we also don't know what he's actually like as the number 1 hero. It's like they're just like, yeah, we know this is where he gets to, and we know that he idolizes this guy, but he's not gonna be this guy. And I love it. Close second was next season of the Rising of the Shield Hero. I don't know. The Rising of the Shield Hero was just an isekai that I wasn't expecting to enjoy. I was like, I'll just give it a shot. And then I was like, this is great.
For me, I was trying not to pick 2 MCU things, but one was a show and this one's a movie. So, so my number 3 is Black Widow, which of course was supposed to have already been out. And so I'm really excited that we finally are getting a Black Widow movie after forever of her being a prominent character in the MCU. And so I'm really excited. I'm really hopeful. And I'm liking this take. And again, there are those fan theories for how this could try to bring Black Widow back.
Please don't stop.
But yeah, I'm definitely not in. My take is I don't think they would go that direction with this. I could see them. That seems like reaching, but again, anything could happen, and that gets me excited. And so,
Yeah, I have a thing with like especially awesome characters with their deaths. And I want those deaths to like continue to mean something. Continue driving the other characters. And you just take away a lot of that by finding a loophole to bring them back.
right.
So much.
And I think that we could say 100% agree. I think that the thing I would least like them to do is to just be like, and we raised her from the dead somehow. We figured it out. Like that's kind of the thing I would like the least. But with their taking these multiverse approaches, I would love it if we could get like not pull a different like Black Widow into the main canon, but have some way of getting like the alternate reality where she lived and Hawkeye died, like that kind of thing, like seeing what does that other side look like. I think would be really cool. Also, I guess in-game spoilers, but you know, it's too late now.
Yeah.
Because I already said them, and because
It's
it was
like,
a long time ago.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So I'm
like
I'm super
literally 2 years
interested.
ago almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're way out of the embargo period of spoilers.
So those are our top threes over in chat. Chunk the Hut gives a shout out to going to theaters again. And then Panda Boy says ready for anything MCU related. And so a lot of hype for both of those. And so next week, we will have a top three. We did not discuss it, which kind of, I guess, goes in line with me not discussing top three ideas for this show until yesterday. And so a shout out to Emma for coming up with a cool top three and then not being here. So,
So Shanine, what's our top three next week?
I'll let you know next Sunday.
Darn it.
next one.
Before Shanine was like the top three generator.
Shanine does come up with really good top threes. So put that on your resume. Cameron said, in quotes. She does come up with good top threes.
Position. First Geek 411 podcast, top three generator.
So with that, we're of course going to hang out and do our normal post-show chat. Listeners, you can find us over on our social media. That's One Geek 411, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And then you can join our Discord server if you want to hang out and chat with us between the shows and our cool listeners that gave awesome top three feedback. And then you can send us an email at 1stgeek411@gmail.com. And then you can watch live on our Twitch and find the video on our YouTube after the fact. And then you can rate and subscribe wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. And then check out our Redbubble merch store. And then you can find our website and show notes at onegeek411.com, where you can find our sister cast, Faith Trust and Pixie Dust. Then, of course, you can find us on our personal social media. I'm Humar Whittle.
I'm the Hoot and Howl on Twitter and Hoot and Howl Tales, TALES, on Instagram.
And I'm Not So Foreign.
And it's been a great week.
Wash your hands.
Read a book.
I love you. In chat, Chunks the Hut says top three Baby Yoda moments.
Done.
Just all of it. Just
Yeah,
one,
it's
the
just
one
like-
moment from the beginning till the end. That's my favorite.
That's my top favorite. My second favorite